What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of the Nintendo PlayStation Podcast. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by my best friend in all the land, Toby Thornton. What is up, Toby?
What is up, Bobby? You're looking so sexy with that haircut.
I know, I got a new haircut, I got my glasses on, new camera. I'm styling a profile like Ric Flair, man. It's all good. So, also, with us, we have the greatest co-host in all of podcasting, Sean Capri. What is up, Sean?
Hi, Bobby. Go Xbox. Go Team Xbox. Go Phil Spencer.
Stop it. You know what? You can't do that here. You can't do that here because you named us. You need to be respectful of the name and the show and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I set you up perfectly. I just messed things up today. Episode 1. You invite me on?
You're
what
on the
a
wrong
mistake
show.
that was. What
Talk that nonsense. Get yourself over to Xbox Dive if you wanna do that stuff.
I'll do that too.
Shout out to James, Michael the Jet Ski, and
Michael the Jet Ski. Yes.
and Chris White,
Mr. Jet Ski.
Let us kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our Geek Outs!
Geek Outs! Xbox.
My wife is probably screaming
come on,
at me right now. My wife is going to wake up and be like, what the frick are you doing? Okay, so...
Shoutouts.
The reason why, don't do that tomorrow either, alright? I don't want to hear you tomorrow go Geek Outs when I go shoutouts.
That's my thing, though.
This is your one opportunity to get your Geek Outs, and
it's an opportunity. But it's already the Geek Outs are determined. I can't even really like. Take it away.
Yeah. So
geek it away, Bobby.
The reason why Sean is on episode 1.
Hi guys.
It's a big reason why he's on episode 1. We are all geeking out because as of now we are officially throwing our hat into the Patreon pool. The three of us got together after we kind of determined Toby and I were going to do this podcast, and then we just determined, like, let's try Patreon. We had a few people reaching out to us asking us about Patreon, and at that point it was like, we don't really know why we're holding out. Let's just give it a shot and see what happens and all that. So ultimately, if you want to support us, we would appreciate that. You don't have to. Please don't feel obligated.
Listen, Bob, you're going about this all wrong. I have a baby. I have a mouth to feed. Toby's got a baby on the way. Please, guys, and especially if you're living in America, your money is worth like 6 times as much to me. So you don't even have to give a lot. I guess I'll give you that, Bob. You don't have to give a lot. It doesn't just mean a lot emotionally to me. It literally means more to me than you're giving. So it's powerful stuff, Bobby. You got to go for the heartstrings. Come on.
Well, that's your job. I just lay it out. I'm just laying it out.
All right. You take care of business, and I'll go.
But that said, if you're interested, head on over to patreon.com/make us better. We decided to go with that name simply because we couldn't figure out a name. We sat here forever bouncing ideas, and as we were getting ready to shut it down, Sean's like, let's just make us better. It's always Sean with the names. Always Sean coming up with the names.
It's not just because we couldn't come up with something better. It was because we were talking about how Patreon will literally allow us to grow our shows and do things that we weren't normally be able to do. And we don't mean that just by like we can buy better equipment, but it has to sort of be like we need to be able to make We the Gamer Cast better. So I think that's another thing that we should talk about here, which is what shows are impacted by this and why we're sort of having this collective, right?
And that's why Sean's here. It's not just If We Ran Nintendo. It's just not the Nintendo PlayStation Podcast. It's also We the Gamer Cast. We basically wanted to bring all of our shows into the forefront to be involved in this. And that's more or less the way we're going to roll with it.
I basically just didn't want to compete with you, Bobby. I didn't want to put up a Patreon and then have like everybody go off over and support the Nintendo Guru. And I'm like, hi guys, I'm over here. Please support my Patreon.
I didn't want to do that to you. I didn't want to be competing against you. That's ultimately I was like.
So we threw Toby in the middle, and then we gave each other like a huge hug and kiss.
Yeah, exactly.
Toby was the ham in this sandwich.
Nice English ham.
Exactly.
No, you're the English muffin.
So let me break down the different. I guess we should do rewards real quick, or should we just do what the goals are? what people get. Okay, so the rewards are this. We have a $1 tier, a $3 tier, and a $10 tier. So ultimately for the $1 tier, kind of like a thank you. We will also, we have a Discord chat group that we have on the Discord app. We have a Discord server. That's the correct terminology for it. You will be highlighted in that as a Patreon backer, and so on and so forth. For the $3, it basically is you get a credit roll at the end of all the video shows. So as of now, and that we'll get to in a minute, but as of now, the credit roll would roll up at the end of the shows, this show, and if we ran Nintendo, your name would pop up as a backer and a thank you, so on and so forth. You would also be put on the, and that's actually going to be, we're going to call that the producer tier. That would actually go to, oh my god, my mind just went blank. Oh, you would also get the Discord thing as well. The $10 tier, we're calling the executive producer, and that we would actually name you at the beginning of the shows, thanking our Patreon. You get a shout out on every show that we have that is involved in this, and also you would get the other ones. Additionally, you would also get a handwritten thank you card from the three of us. Probably come from 3 different locations because we're not cool enough to coordinate that to be all on the same thing and coming out.
We want you to get the cards like soon, not in 2019 or whenever Death Stranding comes out. We want you to get the card before Death Stranding comes out. That's why.
We've got time then. We got plenty of time. So
that's true.
So that's the 3 rewards that we're throwing out there for people. What actually we are doing, our goals are at $75 per month. We the Gamercast will add video to their shows. So then, if you hit that credit part, if you do the credit thing, the credits will roll at the end of his videos as well. But he doesn't have video yet. So if we hit $75, We the Gamercast goes to video. Toby will start a new video series that he will do once per month. I will host a Patreon members Google Hangout where we will stream live. And if we ran Nintendo, will become a live show. So that's if we hit the $75 goal.
Woo!
That's a lot of stuff.
That's so much stuff, Bobby.
And now you see why we're like, make us better. Because it's going to make everything we're doing better, ultimately. The $150 per month, We the Gamercast will get a second show.
Who agreed to this stuff?
I don't know. 2 times a month, that'll happen. And this show will feature returning guests. So this will allow people, We the Gamercast, the 4 times a month show, to get new people on there, fresh faces. And then the 2 times a month, that would bring in the people that you guys like and all the reoccurring guests. Toby's video series will now be done 2 times a month. And I will start streaming once a week on either YouTube or Twitch. I'll figure out how I'm going to work that out. The third goal, stretch goal, is $200 per month. And that one is where we will do a drunk cast and we will play PS4 games and stream it via Twitch all together. So
I recommend a driving game, Bobby. I think we should drive around virtually drunk.
Grand Theft Auto would not be fair because Toby would be wrecking us.
No, that's not true. Bobby would be driving backwards around the track.
That's true. I would be. So that's basically our Geek House. But real quick, I wanted to give Toby and Sean an opportunity to speak on this as well, so it's just not me explaining everything and all. But what do you want people to take away from this, or what's your,
Well, obviously, I want people to know that nothing is locked behind a paywall. There's no early access to anything. Everything is just upfront as it is. And if anyone does decide that they want to help us out a bit, then that will be greatly appreciated. And, we're not expecting to become millionaires or anything. We're just trying to make the channel better and produce more content for everyone to enjoy.
Exactly. Sean, anything?
Yeah, well, okay, so the biggest thing is that if we get a little bit of money, we can all convince our wives that we can just do way more stuff. That's all this comes down to. And they have low expectations. Yeah. And obviously, like, it hasn't really been said, and maybe it's just assumed, but like we're all splitting everything 3 ways, just so everybody knows. So no matter like how you've come to know any of us, if it's through the Nintendo Guru channel, Toby and I are taking 2/3. So thank you guys for that. But really, like, this is just one of those steps that I think a lot of podcasts take. I'm really excited to grow this with you guys. I don't think that what we've laid out here is the end and the beginning and the end of it. No. I know that we will continue to grow this and listen to feedback from everybody and make this not only better for the products that we're creating, but a better Patreon experience for everyone. We're figuring it out as we go along, just like pretty much everybody else on Patreon. Yeah. So we're all open to whatever feedback everybody has. We want to make this make sense. But we wanted to, the one thing I'll touch on that Toby mentioned was the no early access stuff. Just as I'm a Patreon supporter for, I think, 5 or 6 different groups. And I know I've talked to a lot of people who are our Patreon supporters, and it's the one thing that's common for everybody is that they support the people. Is the perks are literally just that. They're perks, they're extras, but that's not the reason they come in. But if you guys tell us that you would prefer early access, like if you have things that we're not giving, please let us know. I hope that I'm not speaking out of turn here, but
no.
You know, like this is just kind of like what we basically built a Patreon that we ourselves would support. And we hope that you guys, because you connect with us every week and throughout all these different shows, that you connect with us on that level as well. So please give us all of your money, like all of it. Like,
and another thing is that the patrons that I support, I feel like I'm a part of their community, and you know, you can go into Patreon and chat on there, you know, on the posts and stuff, and you know, we've got our Facebook groups, and I feel like it is kind of a nice thing when everyone's sort of in it together, discussing games together, and just having a good time, and you know, there's no like nastiness to it, you know, because you know, you get that in some places, and I feel like
I will say that, like, look, everybody always trumps and says and pounds their chest and like, you know, hey, my community's the best in this, that, and the other, but I truly feel like the community that we have, you know, when you look at the Facebook group, we don't argue, we don't fight, like. We have disagreements, but it's nobody's screaming, nobody's yelling at each other, nobody's calling each other names. Like it's a legitimate disagreement, and we just work it out amongst ourselves. Even when you have guys like Gabe Hills trolling like crazy, nobody gets upset. It's like you turn a blind eye. Yeah, what's up, Gabe? You just turn a blind eye to it. You go, hey man, this is, you know, people will like make funny comments and stuff towards it and all, but it's not. I don't feel like we get into like shouting matches whenever we disagree and all that. So I feel we have a very welcoming community, and that's what I feel like this can grow and get better and all. So, shall we continue this?
That's good. Yeah,
podcast.
I think people get it.
They got it. So the idea.
Patreon.com/make this better.
Yes. The idea behind the new podcast here that we have here, the Nintendo PlayStation. Before we get started, before we jump into the topics, I'm excited for this. I really am. It's the first time that I've woke up in a Saturday morning in a long time excited to podcast. And I'm going to put a black box over Sean for the whole episode. So you're not going to see Sean. Yeah. We're going to have a new... You know how we have the banners across the top and the bottom? It's going to have the banners, and then there's going to be the logo right over Sean's face, so you can't see.
You should just put like a paper bag over my head, like Ugly Bob from South Park.
So the idea is... Toby's going to bring a lot of Sony stuff to this show. I'm going to bring the typical Nintendo stuff to the show. We both like the other guy as well, so we'll go back and forth and talk about the things we like. Every week we're going to start off with Nintendo or Sony PlayStation topics that Toby and I bring to the table. So we're going to start off with that now. Do you want to go first, Toby, or shall I go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So my topic is... You know, E3 starts today, Saturday, the day we're recording this.
Yes.
So I was thinking, E3. If Sony were to do something crazy and announce new hardware in the form of a PlayStation Vita 2 or another handheld, might not be the sequel to the Vita, but just a new handheld.
Yeah.
What would Sony need to do to make it a success where the Vita was such a failure? should they be more like the Switch in terms of how Nintendo have handled the Switch?
Man, that's tough, because I feel like in order to pull off a Switch, that handheld has to be to be comparable and to do what Switch does with the PS4. Obviously, there'd be some type of dongle contraption that would hook to the PS4 that you would dock your Vita into, and then you would be able to take that on the go. I don't know how Sony pulls it off, honestly, unless they did something totally different. I feel like with Nintendo, this is a new starting point, and it gives them the ability to do that. So I don't feel like anything in terms of like them doing a Switch competitor is anywhere in the future of the PS4. I think if they go PS5, that might be where you see something happen. Mm-hmm. Right now, I don't think they're even remotely ready, and anything they do is a half step, and it fails right away. Simply because with the Vita, Sony, to me, it felt like Sony pulled the plug very quickly on it. I mean, they stuck around for a couple of years, but their personal support of that console didn't last very long. You could basically say like Nintendo did the same thing with the Wii U, and that's what it felt like. It felt like they didn't really want to do handhelds. I don't feel like they wanted to split their teams. I think they learned that very quickly, and I think Nintendo took years to learn that. You can't separate your teams. You can't have Naughty Dog working on an Uncharted Vita game and an Uncharted console game. It's very difficult to do. You can do it, but it's going to cost a lot more money to do, and what's the return? And I think they realized pretty quickly that although people scream and they want handhelds, the AAA games on a handheld is very difficult to do, and it takes away one or the other. That's why I think Nintendo has the perfect thing with the Switch, where it's home and go. I think in order for it to work for a Vita 2, they got to just stick with the support. They can't pull the plug so quickly, and they can't do proprietary things like the memory card. Like that me personally, that's what I felt like killed them. $80 for a 32 gig, that is insanity across the board. And that's not a lot of memory either. So, Sean, you have a Vita. I know you like your Vita.
Love my Vita.
What do you feel about this?
Well, I feel like Sony is like a cheating husband. Like it's really committed to, its wife, his wife. We'll say Sony is a he this time. And the wife being the console market, obviously. But it likes to have, girls on the side. It likes to do the virtual reality. It likes to do the Vita and the PSP and these things. But more than, advancing what we think of a mobile console, and in terms of what Nintendo's created with the Switch and it being innovated and all these different things, it has elevated the game of what a company needs to do in terms of showing dedication and commitment to a single thing. So I actually don't think that a Vita 2 would ever work. I think that even if PlayStation made the best handheld ever made, I think Nintendo continues to prove that specs don't matter, especially when it comes to a handheld. It has to be the sole focus. That's the reason that the Switch is doing so well, is because it's all that Nintendo. It's kind of what you said. It's not having take your pick of Nintendo developers, if it's retro or they would all be making Switch games. It's not Naughty Dog going like, I want to make a console game, but then making a Vita game. Like that immediately makes it all fall apart. So from that perspective, I think that we should never expect them or even like want them to do it. I think that Nintendo has really just put their foot down on this market, and Sony might have to just kind of swallow their pride and let them have it. Yeah. But I don't know if that's in them either. So I just think that it's not a possibility. They could make it have the triggers and not all like the back touch. They could make it a little bit more focused in terms of the device itself. But Nintendo elevated it in terms of a product within a line of products. Yeah. And Sony is not prepared to do that. So I don't think it would ever work, Toby.
What's your take, Toby?
Yeah, I think you both make very interesting points. I feel like the 3DS has sort of, it's done very well, but nowhere near what the DS did. And obviously the Vita hasn't done anywhere near as good as the 3DS. And I think the reason for that is mainly because of mobile phones and people gaming on their phone and stuff. And I feel the way that Nintendo is sort of combating that is with the Switch. They've innovated on the concept of a pure handheld, and they've made it into the hybrid thing. Yeah. So I feel like that that's a very smart move from Nintendo, and that if Sony were to go and concentrate on just a handheld device only, it wouldn't work because of mobile. And even if they had some way of connecting it to a PS4 so you could play just your handheld games on the TV, I still don't think that would be a good enough sort of option, you know, because it would feel very much like a copycat move, only not as good.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like the Move controllers. Like, technically they were better than the original Wii remotes, but they were they came too late and they looked weird with the big glowy balls on the end.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just feel like if they were to do it, they need to do it properly, like you say, Bobby. They need to go all in and make the PS5 a hybrid.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they could just make another handheld to go with the PS4.
Yeah.
There's another angle, though, as I think about this, because I don't want it all to be like it's never going to happen. There is another angle, but it is also very non-Sony. It's very against what they've done before, which is put together a piece of kit that is so advanced. They could go the opposite way and start to try and undercut Nintendo a little bit, with the Switch being, you know, a pretty expensive piece of hardware and the 3DS on its way out. That may be the way that Sony is able to compete in the mobile market, which is make a $150 device that is tremendous value, but don't even try to make it sort of get away from that mind space of it's both your console and your handheld.
Yeah.
Just make it like the best handheld ever made, like the 3DS, but with whatever 1080 graphics, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less, but it just has to be focused, I think, is the main thing. And then they can dedicate small teams that create amazing games, because the one thing that Sony has got for them is a whole stable of amazing developers, and they've got a slew of games. And so that they could compete on just the vast number of games against a Nintendo system. I really feel like even out of the gate, they could quickly catch up to what Switch has and then maybe overtake them on that point.
Well, the thing is, Sean, I think you're just describing the Vita, because aside from some of the gimmicks it has, like the back touch and stuff, it probably is the best spec'd handheld, apart from the Switch. If you don't count the Switch and that, because it's got a better screen, especially the OLED screens. It's more powerful. It has 2 sticks and two trigger buttons and everything, and
just the one trigger button.
Just the one trigger. Okay.
So it definitely needs that. But it has this perception that it's expensive for some reason. It has people look at it and go that's costly.
Well, when you look at it like this, and this is when I looked at it, it's the same price as a 3DS. It's $200. It's cheap.
The memory cards.
The memory card is what does it for me. That's the big kicker, because it doesn't come with a memory card. At least the 3DS does come with a memory card, even if it's a small one. Mm-hmm. And when you're looking at this and you're going, hey, it doesn't come with a memory card, I have to buy a memory card. Where do I come in at? Even the 8GB memory cards are expensive. They're not cheap either. I mean, they might have come down now, but when this thing launched, this was a $300-$400 console, depending on the size of the memory card you went with, and that's just absurd. You know what I mean? Like, when you could go and I could buy a micro SD card for $15, for a 64 gig, that's insanity. That's where we look at it. And I think a lot of people just looked at it and was like, yeah, no, I don't want anything to do with that. And it is a nice piece of hardware. It does do a lot of stuff. The fact that it can actually stream when it works, it doesn't work a whole lot. But when you can remote play, if that was to work properly, it'd be a nice little thing to have. Although, for some reason, and I'm not 100% sure, I only did a couple of remote plays, so I'm not going to talk about all the games. A couple of games I did just didn't look as good, shrunk down to that smaller screen, where it should. It should tighten up when it shrinks down, but maybe because it's just trying to do so much, it's just... And I guess it also depends on your wireless connection or what you have going on there, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this Gaikai thing is the link as well. Like, PlayStation is really dedicated to the streaming, the PlayStation Now idea, right? Maybe if that's the bridge that it would have to give you that console experience, so you'd have like a PlayStation 4 game, maybe if they were to ever include that, like Game Pass does for Xbox. Yeah. And if you could stream current games to your PlayStation handheld, like maybe that's it. I think that we're all on the same page. That it would be a very, very tough sell, and they would really have to get a few things right bang on. When does that ever happen?
And whatever they decide to do, they need to be honest and follow it through. For years, they said, we're supporting the Vita, we're supporting the Vita. They really weren't supporting it. You know, when you have an E3 conference, you need to show the Vita stuff. You know, PlayStation Experience, that was PlayStation Experience. They showed a lot of Vita stuff, but that was because they were kind of speaking directly to the fans. But you knew you had your fans that were buying it, and I think that was kind of like, hey guys, we're not abandoning you, but on the other side, like, we're not pushing and trying to expand and grow this market either. Like, we're kind of like, it was mixed messaging. You know what I mean? Like, Nintendo's notorious for that, but I feel like that's the way Sony is. Like, hey, it's a dirty little secret. Over here with the people that love it, we're talking about it, but like in front of the world, we're just kind of like pushing it aside. I feel like that's a mistake. I feel like if you're going to go for it, go for it. And that's weird because Sony, like with the PS4, when they threw all their chips in, they went after it with the PS4. If that's the thing, if they were to do the same thing with the Vita, I think it would be more successful. Because the VR feels the same way. It doesn't feel like... Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Does it feel to you guys that you're really strongly pushing VR? Or does it feel like it's touch and go?
No, they have clever messaging around it right now, which is we're out of stock, demand is high, so we're not pushing it. And I think that is so much crap. I don't buy that for a second. Nintendo's in the exact same spot. They're having tough supply constraints, but they're all out. They're on baseball fields and all these different places. Like they want it to so that when it lands, you just heard about it on a commercial or on a bus ad or something like that, and you're getting it. PlayStation, from that perspective, like I'm almost glad that I just kind of level myself out across all three platforms, because if I was really in it on any one of these things, I'd be a disaster, you guys. Like if I was really into the PlayStation ecosystem, like just dedicated, and like that was my, like what if I bought a Vita and that was my gaming system? I would be pissed.
Yeah.
Like it's embarrassing what they've done with the Vita, I think. Yeah. But that's if I put on the hat of somebody who like is in it. Luckily I'm not, so I don't get like that really heated about it. But people get very heated about even the Pokemon Direct with this past week. You know, like things that aren't nearly on the same level. And the reaction I don't think is there. And this is a discussion that we can have throughout really the show, or you guys can have throughout the show, which is sort of how unbalanced that is and how much stuff PlayStation truly gets away with. Like they just put a console out to die, and people are like, that's cool. Sony's really great. Look at the charms. I like your triangles and your crosses and your squares and whatever. Like, that's embarrassing. That you like, and people were worrying about people who bought a Wii U and how screwed over they would feel when Nintendo dropped that and moved on to the Switch. That's not even close to the same thing. They were going on to a new console. They were coming up with something totally different. They not only abandoned the Vita, they've abandoned the handheld market altogether and just sort of blamed it on cell phones. Whereas Nintendo's like proving them wrong. So I can understand why somebody would get so upset. And I mostly just get upset with the fact that it's so unbalanced, Toby.
So I don't know that I personally don't feel like they're going to announce anything hardware-wise, and I know this was a hypothetical that you were kind of throwing out there.
They just like hype. They would do it for the hype almost.
That's possibly true. Yeah. They could, because
they would announce it and it wouldn't be out for 2 years.
Yeah, they're good for that.
That would be amazing.
that would be hilarious, really. Like
the launch title is Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah. Nintendo topic time. So with E3 again.
Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna be geeking out in a minute if it works. But if with E3 coming up again, Tuesday is Nintendo's announcements. What's 2 or 3 things? We did predictions, and I think predictions weren't really what we wanted. They were kind of what we thought. But what do you want to see Nintendo do at E3 that'll get you like exploding and jumping off your chair? I'll start with you, Toby. What
just one thing, and we'll go round.
Yeah, that's fine.
I want them to announce Zelda Maker, top-down 2D Zelda Maker. Please, Nintendo, please do this.
Oh my God.
Who was talking about Donkey Kong Maker this week? Somebody had was it Nintendo Nostalgia?
NBC?
Or NBC, maybe. Yeah. I thought
somewhere, yeah.
Either way, I think you're onto something, Toby. I obviously think Mario Kart Maker is going to happen. So Thank you.
Of the three, I think that we would probably see. I think we'd probably see Zelda Maker first. But I got to tell you, Paris said Donkey Kong Maker, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds pretty awesome. So,
I think you're onto it in that they're not done with the Maker series. They could even expand onto the Mario Maker series and go into Mario World.
Yeah, that's true. So you want to see a Zelda Maker? That's what you're looking at.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm
crazy,
all about.
He's all about Zelda and the dungeons and all that stuff.
And yeah, exactly. That sounds. I couldn't even be bothered to build a Mario level, and that's way easier.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, Sean, because so many people are.
Because I'll make it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll make all the levels, and you can just play them. So,
Sean, what's something that would make you freak out?
Well, I wish that now I'm feeling like kind of self-conscious about, because you said, we did our predictions. This is a prediction that I sort of like want to will into existence, and I want ARMS amiibo. I love my Guardian amiibo with like the arms. You can like articulate them. Is that the word, Toby? You can kind of move them around and stuff. I think ARMS amiibo would be so cool, and I think that they've done such a great job designing the characters and giving them a ton of focus. People would eat that up, and I actually think that it would be better than the Splatoon amiibo, to be honest with you. I love the squid, but like the squid kids are just kind of samey for me, and I would get a whole lineup. I would just get, I would get 8 Twin Tails.
I was gonna say, I'd just buy loads of ribbon girls, like.
Okay, yeah, so we get a little, little crushes going, Bobby.
Yeah.
It's about to, all we've had up until this point is like Rosalina, and she's not even wearing her like bike suit. You know what I mean?
Jesus,
like,
could you stop it?
Get me a sexy Rosalina. I mean, that would also be very exciting for me. Is Rosalina amiibo in Mario Kart 8?
For me,
bike suit. What the hell is that?
Oh, good God! For me, Animal Crossing. If Animal Crossing gets announced for Switch, I will flip this desk over, man, because. And it's a heavy desk, and I would lose my computer and stuff. But no, it's I have always enjoyed home console Animal Crossing games so much more than portable ones. But I also loved New Leaf, taking it on the go and all that stuff that did. So the ability to do both, oh my god, dude, I would be through the roof. Legitimately, like I could see it now. Tony and I just sinking hours upon hours. I think she put 800 hours into New Leaf. I know I put 500 hours into New Leaf. We would just lose our minds with it. So I'm really hoping we see an Animal Crossing.
There's something about Animal Crossing that always brings you back to it, because somebody was talking about what if they did announce a Switch version, and I was like, yeah, it'd be cool, but I don't know if I'd be into it, because I played loads of the other Animal Crossings and they're very similar. Yeah. But then as I was watching footage of New Leaf again and hearing all the noises and seeing people design their house and put on clothes, and I was like, oh man, actually seeing this in HD, like that would be amazing.
Yeah,
like just there's some sort of just nostalgia pull to it, like the little noises there. Going to the coffee shop, just chilling out in the game. It's so relaxing.
Yeah, brilliant. I agree. What's another one, Toby?
I would love to see a Super Nintendo remix game.
Oh. Yes, that's my prediction.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant!
Yes.
Yeah. So, because I didn't actually get the NES remix because I'm not a massive fan of NES games. Like, I didn't grow up with the NES, but I did grow up with the SNES. And if there were new, unique challenges and twists to my favorite SNES games, then I'd be all in for that.
Yeah. Sean, did you get NES remix?
Yeah, we got 1 and 2. I got it for Chelsea for her birthday, I think.
I love them.
Like that.
I love 2 so much more than 1.
Yeah, they just refined it a little better.
Yeah, one was a lot of crap games, I felt. Like pinball and golf and stuff that was very difficult to play because it really wasn't that good. 2 was just so much better. It was just amazing.
You know what my pick of the whole thing is Balloon Fight. Like, that is I think that they actually made that game actually better.
Yeah.
Like, if that's your only experience with Balloon Fight, you might go to somebody and go like, that's a really good game, and people are like, what are you talking about? Balloon Fight is terrible.
Yeah.
But that's the way that you do those things, and it's sort of like Rare Replay did it nicely, just by the way, on Xbox.
Yeah.
They've got those little challenges, very, very similar stuff. You just get a little snapshot in. I want more of that. Like on all mine, like go all the way up to give me challenges. But if they announce this, if they had like challenges for GoldenEye, and you just kind of had like, remember you used to do like the little, they used to have like, if you beat the facility in 2 minutes and 10 seconds, somebody please fact check me on that, because if that's right, That's a crazy memory because that was like 20 years ago. But I want more of this stuff. I love
it. Sean, what's another thing that you would want?
I think that if they announced that all the games that I've purchased before I now own, or I will own, or at least there's a promise of just like, hold off, guys, that no virtual console isn't quite here yet, but all that stuff on your 3DS, that Mario 3 that you bought 16 times, you get one more and it's not going to cost you anything. Or even, honestly, at this point, I may even be okay with the $1 upgrade fee. But if they announced a plan, it's something to at least acknowledge that they're listening, that this is what people want, that would make me kind of drop my jaw. And like, because it's something that to me makes so much sense, but it's that when things make too much sense, Nintendo never does them.
True.
So I'd flip out.
I don't blame you. I would too. For me, Mother 3, that's the one that, man, if we finally get that thing, if they just come and they announce Virtual Console is coming, and they go, by the way, the first game that's coming is Mother 3. Oh my god, dude. It would be so awesome. I've been wanting, and I've talked about this numerous times. I have the game already. I started playing it. I stopped playing it because I was playing on a DSi, and it was just so small. It's a Game Boy Advance game. Is the cartridge that I had to plug into there, and it's the screen is so small, and it looks crisp and it looks good, but it's just like I don't like playing on that little thing. I wanted to play on something a little bigger. For Switch, it'd be nice because even if I just did it in handheld mode, that's a beautiful screen for a handheld, something small. Then you throw it up on the big screen, I'd be even more ecstatic. Like I loved Earthbound. I just want call it Earthbound 2. That's all I need, and I'd be happy as hell, man. Is there anything else you got, Toby?
I really, really want... I know I talk about this a lot, but I really want a true sequel to Kirby's Dream Course. Oh, I want it to be...
You're playing up to the Kirby fans.
I want it to
Nick
be fully
and Marley.
3D, but still had the isometric view. But this time you can rotate the camera around, and it comes with its own built-in course editor, so you can make unlimited levels. And you can share the levels with other people. You would be all in.
You just want to make a bunch of levels. That's all you want to do. Why don't you?
Dream Course, the best mini golf game ever created.
What you're basically telling me is you want Nintendo Creator. You want a game called Nintendo Creator, and they give you all the assets, and you can build all these games and be like, here you go.
Nintendo, just hire me, please.
Yeah. So, I would. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be pretty awesome.
So you just decided whether or not that was going to be cool or not.
I just think about it. I'm like, yeah, that would be.
Yes,
it
will be
cool. Yeah,
yes, indeed.
Exactly.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you got, Sean, or?
Yes, Bobby. Toby and I are going to geek out about this. You can just go off on your American little way. Super Mario Strikers. Let's bring it back. My God, that would actually make me flip out, Bobby. Like, and you could even do I didn't even mind some of the motion controls back on the Wii and how you'd like point around. Remember when you'd get that power up and it would go ding 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 ding? You're like, oh, you're screwed now. And it's
you have to click on the ball.
And it was all hard, and you had to move and save. Bobby, this game gets me going, buddy.
I never played it. Man.
Oh, it's so good. Can you imagine online? It is so good.
It looks cartoony and that, but it's got so much depth and skill involved with it. You could do trick shots. Like you could, if you're really good, you can run up and you can bounce the goal off the wall behind the ball, off the goal, the wall behind the goal. Get my words mixed up. And as it comes back, you can just header it over the goalie and get it in. And it's like little trick shots like that are just unbelievably satisfying.
And all the characters have different like power-ups, and like they can deke differently. Like the Boo will disappear and sort of like transport somewhere else, or the Koopa Troopa will like spin around in a shell and knock the person down, or like it's just full contact soccer too. Like you just push them over, and that's how you get power-ups and stuff. Bobby, how are you not into this? This is one of the best games on the Wii. Like it may be in my top 5, maybe my top 10, maybe. Amazing game that would make me absolutely flip out if
I'm surprised because
in a year.
So many people speak so highly of this game. I'm actually surprised Nintendo has never done anything with it, even bringing it to Virtual Console or anything. Yeah, it's man, I would definitely try it. I haven't tried it.
Bobby, your favorite characters in it, Waluigi, right?
Oh,
when you're playing as when you're playing as Waluigi and you use your power up, you sort of go super fast, and as you're running around, you're leaving like a trail of spiky bushes behind you.
Jesus.
And you can sort of wall off characters so they can't get to you, and then you can charge up your shot and do a super shot at the goal. It's amazing. There's so many different things like that.
Mm-hmm. It is the ultimate just one more match game. Like, it really, don't give me any of these like NBA Playground stuff or FIFA Street or NBA Street or whatever. This is the game. This is the best. We don't need EA.
I just want to go out and play it now. Like,
so good.
Because every character's different. You have Donkey Kong, right? So Donkey Kong, you can do this sort of, I think on the Wii, you press like left on the D-pad or something, and he would beat his chest, and it would cause like a sort of shockwave around him, and it would only last like a second or two, but
that's all you need.
Yeah, that's all you need, because like characters run up towards you, trying to get the ball, you beat your chest, they fall over, and then you can do your super move. Like, it's just, it's so good, Bobby.
I would flip out.
My last thing is
not as good as Strikers.
Stop it. I would get really. I'm torn because I have. Oh, you know what? I don't care. I'll talk about both of them. One would be Mario Golf. I would love to get Mario Golf on the Switch just because I love it. I love those types of games like Hot Shots Golf. I love Mario Golf. Like those types of games are just. I love them. I can't get enough of them. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing would be Metroid. But I don't want 3D Metroid. I would like a kind of a 2D, maybe 2.5D, where it's kind of like you're fading back and forth between the worlds a little bit, or between the levels and stuff. Like, I love side-scrolling Metroid. They're my favorite Metroids. I would love something similar to that. Like, I would have so much fun with a game like that. It would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. New sexy Samus. That's all you need.
That's all.
Just don't be shy, Nintendo. Bobby, what if they had Mario Hockey, and then in the off season, like when you're finished your main season, then you switch over to Mario Golf? See, the only Canadians get that because they know the hockey players.
I would just like a Mario Hockey game. Like, forget golf. Golf's boring. Hockey's so much more fun.
That's right. They could do the exact same game because, like, really, that like Strikers, they move as quickly as if they were skating anyway. So just bring it on. Just make it a mode like Rocket League did.
The original hockey for
just hockey.
Yeah, ice hockey. You remember that for the NES?
Yep.
I love that game so much, dude. You had the fat guy, the medium guy, and the real skinny guy. And, like, dude, I would love to be, like, you get Waluigi or, you know, that type of, like, Luigi, Waluigi, Mario, you know, Wario. Like, that'd be kind of cool.
Did you say Mario correctly just now?
I don't know.
I think you did.
Mario. I don't know.
No, because when you're saying it all together, that I think, rewind the tape, everybody. I think that was a legit Mario just now.
Hot off the presses. At this point, we're going to basically, Toby will bring 3 Sony news articles. I will bring 3 Nintendo. And then Sony, we're actually going to let Sean pick this week. All right? So whenever we bring a guest in, the guest will pick what news article they want to discuss or hear about. So I'm going to go first this time since you started off the topics, and we'll lead into that. First one that I have is Nintendo launches a new competitive gaming Twitter account. Second one is rumor about the Mario Odyssey / Xenoblade Chronicles 2 launch dates. And the third article is Best Buy Canada leaks.
Oh, no leaks.
Yeah.
What was the first one?
First one was Nintendo launches new competitive gaming Twitter account.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. All right, so this comes...
I don't want to talk about leaks. I wish that even today...
Yeah.
No, I know. It's one of those things. Just a quick comment on. I just wish that people didn't do it.
Yeah.
I have to go back to what my soapbox where I just have to get off social media. That sucks.
I basically have stopped
because Nintendo's on Tuesday, man. That's so far away.
Yeah, I agree. Basically, the article comes from Nintendo Wire. Over the past few months, it seems that Nintendo's been getting more competitive into the esports, featuring concepts strongly since the Switch reveal, gearing Splatoon 2 and ARMS towards a more hardcore crowd. They started a new Twitter account. It's at Nintendo VS, and its explicit purpose is social competitive gaming, predominantly featuring in the next E3 tournaments, Splatoon, ARMS, and Pokken Tournament. The account took a little time to announce the attendees and ladder tournaments, competitive Pokken. So basically, it's gonna, anytime you want to know about Nintendo's competitive gaming scene, that's where you're gonna go. Me personally, I'm excited about this because I'm starting to lean a little bit into this stuff. I want to start watching this stuff more and getting involved in it and seeing it. And I love to see Nintendo. I think that's what that scene needs. That scene needs the big guys to start pushing it, to start promoting it, and really start funneling maybe some money, some cash prizes into it for the people that are attending it, not attending it, but being the competitors and stuff. I think it's a good thing for esports altogether. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's great. You know what? Nintendo have been doing this more and more. They had their Nintendo World Championships. I know that's kind of a nostalgia thing, but they've been sort of having like more and more esports stuff. When the Switch was revealed, they showed Splatoon being played at a stadium in the trailer and all that. Like, it really feels like they're embracing esports, and they're steering a lot of their multiplayer games towards that. So that's really cool.
Pretty awesome.
Here's the thing about esports, I think, is that like it sort of has this, like, you have to be really into the game that you're watching. Like an extreme example of this is StarCraft. Like I love StarCraft, and I played it all growing up. And every now and then I'll just kind of tune in to see what's going on, like on the StarCraft Twitch channel. But like it's too much. Like it's too advanced. It's really I don't feel in it. But this is a space that Nintendo can really own because that's what they do. Like, they're inclusive. They're for everybody. Yeah. And it could mean for esports as well. This could be one of those things where, everybody talks about the industry needs a healthy Nintendo. I think esports needs a healthy esport Nintendo as well. That could be the gateway drug for people to get into it, for games that they understand that make sense even if it's being played at a high level. And then that's how people get into esports, and they graduate to other things, and how we've seen them do with going from Nintendo to PlayStation and things like that. Yeah. I think that this could be massive just for esports in general. It could be what I've been missing this whole time.
I agree. I was watching. There's a documentary on Netflix about esports and how it's starting to become the next big thing and all this. And a lot of it during that documentary was League of Legends. And I didn't really know much about it and all, but the game looks awesome. And I'm like, this is pretty amazing, like, to see these competitive teams and how... And I think I liked it so much more because Nintendo, or America, is the underdog in the world gaming scene. Like, you watch, like, Korea and Japan and China and how they... Like, their national... Like, that's what they're doing. They're pumping money. Like, you had, I think it was Korea, that was basically showing, like, these big companies are pumping, like, just like they do with, like, baseball and football here, where you're...
Exactly.
That's what it is for them over there, and it's, like, amazing to see all the money that's getting funneled into these teams and stuff to sponsor the teams and all. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man.
Toby, what's your Sony news articles that you have?
All right, so... We've got 3 to choose from. We've got Bubsy, we've got Shenmue, and we've got Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk, 100%.
Toby wanted you to talk Shenmue. That's what he was getting all like...
No, it's a none thing. Like, whatever. Yeah. It's all not right, coming and nobody cares.
It's not coming for another 5 years.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so CD Projekt
Although
Red...
I feel bad for Kickstarters. I feel bad. Yeah. That's a shame. But don't Kickstarter shit. Just do Patreon / make us better.
CD Projekt Red.
I agree with that.
Developer of our favorite Western RPG, The Witcher. Wait, is it classed as a Western RPG? I guess so.
Yeah.
Eastern
Japanese.
Europe.
So yeah, all right. Anyway, their new game, their new sci-fi epic, Cyberpunk 2077. Somebody stole some files to do with the game's development, and they tried to basically get some money out of CD Projekt Red. They said, pay us some money or we will leak information about this game online.
Get out of here.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Wow. What's funny is yesterday I saw like someone start to post, but I've been blocking everything. Like the minute I see anything that's video game related, I'm just scrolling right past it because I don't know if it's a spoiler or not. When I saw that yesterday, I saw the logo CD Projekt Red. And I thought, oh my God, this is a new game coming out. I don't want to read about it. But now you're saying this, and I'm like, wow, that is nuts.
Yeah, I bet it was Ukrainians, Bobby. The Ukrainians are after the Polish.
Yeah, possibly. And so it says, in a rather professional move, CD Projekt Red has said that it won't be submitting to the thief's demands. even if it means that information about the game does leak out. However, the Polish outfit has stressed that files are old and don't necessarily have much to do with the project in its current state. So if you do see any leaked info, don't take it too seriously. So I don't know whether that statement is them just trying to cover their bases, maybe the information is accurate and they want to sort of confuse people about it, and or whether that is true and the game has changed and moved on quite a bit since the information leaked. But I think that's just crazy, because you hear about leaks all the time, but you never hear about people saying pay up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
I
wonder if we'll see more of that.
That's what I was going to say. It's scary to think that, and I'm glad that CD Projekt Red is saying, we're not going to pay for this, we could care less. Because ultimately, if they did pay, you would see a lot more of it. But if the fact that they're saying no, which I'm glad they are, because, man, could you imagine, especially just before E3, people would be just, I think it would kill something like E3. Because at that point, why does Nintendo, why does Sony, why do all these companies have something like E3 where we're going to make announcements where someone's going to steal the information and hold them hostage to pay for it and stuff? So, yeah, man, that's craziness.
This move is just so baller for me for both. The balls on people to steal it and ask for money is one thing, but this is such an opportunity for CD Projekt Red. They are already a beloved developer. Yeah. The way that they rolled out The Witcher 3 and they had the heartfelt letter and they gave tons of free content. Everybody loves this company. Yeah. And then they come out and do this sort of thing. It's damn, you guys are smart too. You got street smarts too. Yeah. This is they have just won so much respect. And whether or not it's a PR stunt, I'm not suggesting that it is, but they have spun it in such a positive way that I can't wait to find out about this game. Yeah. And had it not been, the data had not been stolen, I mean, I was interested in it, but this is peaked, and they are just flying high. Everything they do is on a AAA level. I'm so happy for them, even though I don't love The Witcher 3.
I'm not, and the thing is too, is I was going to say this, is if this was like an EA, I think that what happens is more or less is the people, right now, people are oh, you they're against the hackers and the leakers, oh, you're scumbags. But if it was EA, it might be a different ballgame. People just might be who cares? It wouldn't be as big a story. But because, like you said, because this company is so beloved by its fans and stuff, and even by just the gaming community, they're getting turned on. The leakers are kind of you guys are scumbags doing something like this. Mm-hmm. Where it's normally people are oh, that's kind of cool. You're doing that. You're a rock star because you stole somebody's content and you're holding it ransom or whatever. But that's kind of cool.
Speaking of EA, it does make me sad a little bit too, because I feel this is a move that BioWare could have done if it ever happened to BioWare before the EA buyout. That's the two companies really remind me of each other. Just the way that BioWare became so huge so quickly, but they were still technically independent. They weren't owned by the giant publisher. They were just them. And that's what CD Projekt Red is now. They've really built their own castle. And now they're just kind of putting up the walls and come at us. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. I love it. I wish BioWare still had that sense of independence, but I mean, they're doing things that they probably wouldn't be able to do if they weren't bought out by EA, but it's sort of like a parallel universe where you see what would happen if they were and what would happen if they weren't.
Absolutely. It's time for the rewind.
Sorry, Bobby.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Just something to say?
Don't listen to me. Just go
oh
ahead.
No! What was it? Was that all? Were you saying that is all?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. It's time for the rewind, and I think I don't know how we do this. I don't know whether we both talk about it. I think it depends on time, more or less.
I'll pick it.
Yeah. Well, we could both talk about our retro games. Basically, we're gonna talk about retro games at this point. Toby, what retro game? Because you're the retro, you kind of stem this because you've been going retro junkie wise on me lately.
Yeah,
and I've kind of dipped my cap or my toe into the whole retro scene now lately with this cool little baby that I bought, my Retron HD. So it's got me playing some classic games. But go ahead, what retro game do you have for us?
So first of all, for future reference, how are we classing PS2, GameCube retro now?
Yeah,
can we go? We can go into. All right, so that's just.
But
so
you're doing Sony, I'm doing Nintendo. So
I know. I'm just saying that era.
Yeah. So you're
all right.
I think that's Don't you, Sean? Yeah. You think that's kind of retro area?
Yeah, I think
definitely.
GameCube, PS2, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the game I want to talk about today, though, is a game called Alundra, which is a PlayStation 1 game. And I don't know if anyone's ever played the game Landstalker on the Mega Drive. I'm not sure if it was on SNES as well. But anyway, it was an isometric sort of adventure game. It had platforming and RPG elements. And then Alundra is sort of a spiritual successor to that on the PlayStation 1. And it is very much a sort of top-down Zelda-like game, in that it's got dungeons and it's got an overworld and it's an action RPG. But it's kind of unique in that the setting is like, there are sort of dungeons, but you also go into sort of people's dreams. And, you know, because there's this sort of weird thing going on where people fall into a deep sleep and they're trapped in a nightmare in their own head, and they can die from it. If the boss monster in their dream like kills them, they die. So you've got this special ability where you can go to their bedside and all their family and friends are gathered around, and you sort of go into their dream and you do this sort of dungeon. And it's so atmospheric and cool. And yeah, it's just the way I like it. So it's different than Zelda is the platforming. Like I said before, like it's 2D pixel graphics and that. But there are sort of layers to everything, so you can jump on top of things, and a lot of the puzzles revolve around stuff like that. You have to pick up boxes and position them right so you can jump and do platforming and stuff. And it's just a really cool alternative to Zelda on the PlayStation 1.
It's kind of cool. Have you ever heard of this game, Sean, before or no?
No, I figured it was, Europe only.
It's
possible because I've never heard of it.
It's on the PlayStation Network store for PlayStation 3 as a classic game, so I'm not sure if it's on the American store.
At this point, it probably is, because you're starting to see that now, where there's games that are crossing borders now and are kind of going that way.
Do you guys think that PlayStation has more of those? Like, do we all know every Nintendo game, but there's PlayStation games that like we just have no idea about? Like that?
I think there's obscure games for every console, but the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 have got such a vast library that you're much more likely to come across games that you don't.
I think it's so interesting, man.
I agree. For me, for the rewind, I'm going to do mine a little differently because I don't want to get into the whole Toby's very technical savvy and knows a lot of lore and a lot of history of the games and such, and I'm not that guy. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to come from the heart of why I love these games and what got me to playing them.
Just rank how hard they got you. Right? That's sort of the opposite.
Sorry, I love your cheeky little laugh.
Oh, you're so messed up, Sean. This little baby here, Kung Fu.
Oh, yeah.
This one
Maximum baitiness.
Yes, this one. This one here, the reason why I picked this one, first off, it was the first game I played on my Retron HD last night. But that aside, what got me, it started, as I was playing it last night, it started to bring back a lot of memories. And something I talked about one time to Sean was the original Let's Play happened for me on that. And what would happen is I'd call my cousin on the telephone, and he would place the phone down next to the television, and I would listen to him playing the game. And like, I could tell by the sounds, like, if he died, if he was doing good, and then you could kind of hear, like, when he beat the level, because you would hear the character walking up the steps, and you would hear him beat the bosses of that level, and just, it takes me back to a different time. And it's funny, because as I was playing it last night, I was like, my God, man, the stupid stuff we did as kids, like, this was, just a reminder of that, like, playing that game. And I played it on the Retron HD. I gotta tell you, it's a cool little controller. It's not perfect by any stretch of imagination. The D-pad is not tight like a regular NES controller, but it feels very comfortable in your hand. So I do like that part of it. Playing this game, because the control wasn't as tight, I felt like my character was doing some things that, either that or I'm just not that good at the game anymore. But I beat the game. I did beat the game last night. It's not very difficult to beat. It reminded me a lot of like Bruce Lee, like a Bruce Lee movie back in the day, and I think that's what drew me to it as a kid, because I was in, Bruce Lee was an amazing kung fu fighter and transitioned to a Hollywood star and all that. But like growing up as a kid, like, he was all you knew. When people talk Kung Fu, all you thought was Bruce Lee. So that reminded me of Bruce Lee when we played, and I laugh because the storyline is so weak. It's not even funny. It's just basically like this guy, Mr. X. Like, that's the boss's name, Mr. X. Mr. X kidnaps your girlfriend, Sylvia, and has her trapped. And then as soon as you beat the game, it's kind of one of those Mario things. Like, there's this cute little moment where they're all hugging each other, and there's all these hearts around them, and then boom, it turns around, and he's got her again, and he took her. So that's my retro game of the week. So
that's also, I've never played that game, Bobby, and it does not appeal to me. Like, I see that game. What do you mean, of course not? Like,
because you don't know good games. That's the problem.
Oh, I do.
Oh,
I do.
If it's not GTA style, he doesn't draw to it. If it's not racing cars and killing people, he's not a fan.
I literally just told you about Alundra. That is nothing like GTA, Bobby.
Please, you look that up.
Get straight, boy. Come on.
So that is all.
Aw.
Episode 1 of the Nintendo PlayStation Podcast is in the books. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could take a moment, jump on over to iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. Rate us. 5 stars would be amazing. Give a little detail. Leave a little review. Sean Capri, I saw you do one for the hosts this week. That was pretty epic. So anything that anybody does, it's awesome. You can follow.
I did it while pooping. Actually, I was working.
Well, you can poop at work, don't you?
That's true.
It's true.
I'm just saying everybody poops, so everybody should write an iTunes review. It's easy.
You can follow Toby
at
Toby's_take. Follow Sean Capri on Twitter. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Follow myself at Nintendo Gurus. You can follow the podcast at Ninplay Podcast. See me later.
Patreon.com/makeusbetter.
Yes, that too.
Play UN Squadron, everybody.
What?
UN Squadron.